Hi guys, I'm Pappy. I'm assistant to the membership director, SE, as you all know. So I'm so excited today because we have Rotimi, who is our co-founder and president of God Culture, to speak. And please tell us where you are from, where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions, please let us know because this is a community-based event that we're having, and we are so excited to have you all here. So today I'm going to start out with prayer, and then I'm going to introduce Aaron, who's going to come on later. So let us just pray, okay? Dear God, we ask that you be with us at this event and that you make it smooth as possible, and you bring more people to listen to what is being said by Rotimi, and give us a wisdom to understand what he's saying, and just show us our true purpose, what we have to do, Father God, and be with us right throughout this event, and may we get more and more people to join and to listen to us. We ask this in Jesus' name we pray. And so now I'm going to introduce Aaron Marble. She is a part of God Culture. She is a wonderful human being, and we're so proud to have her in our community. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, thank you, Poppy. Thank you. I'm Erin, and I want to read to you guys a little more about God Culture. So God Culture is a global creative network of Christian professionals passionate about using their gifts and platforms to transform the world. We are a member-based community of mission-driven transformational leaders. We believe in growing together, leading change in our local communities, giving towards causes, and collaborating. Now I'm going to go over our 4 G's that we stand by. Grow. We believe that every God Culture member should grow first inwardly, then outwardly. Leadership starts with leading oneself. Govern. We believe that members should be transformational leaders who take responsibility for finding solutions to the challenges that affect the world. Give. We believe in generosity. We believe in doing good with what we've been given. We are passionate about helping those that do not have as much as we do. Get together. We believe that life should be lived in community and not in isolation. We believe that positive change happens when we come together. Now I'd like to introduce our president and founder, Rotimi Kehinde.
Thank you. Yeah, we practiced how to say my name. You did a very good job.
I didn't want to get it wrong.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Hey guys, good morning, and thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about keys to unlocking your purpose and your potential. So I would love you to get some writing materials. We're excited to have you here. It's going to be a wonderful time together. As usual, I want to start out by just thanking all our speakers that have come out from January, really, when we started this virtual event. We've had Pastor Shola, we've had Eddie Morales, we've had Jake White, had a phenomenal session with us, just mind-blowing, 2 weeks ago. And we have an amazing lineup of speakers that we're still bringing the last Saturday of every month. This month, our theme is purpose. Next month, we're going to be talking about finances. So we're really excited to be bringing people that are in the financial space, Tony Escobar, Brandon Greco from the Rise Agency, to talk about money, because I think that's really, really important for us to talk about. I also want to encourage you, if you have not signed up for free, again, this is for free right now. You can sign up on our website by going to godculture.global, and you will be able to get access to member connections, Zooms, private group messaging. You can earn points. Depending on your membership level, you can get job referrals as well as project referrals. You're able to find an amazing global community here. We've been steadily building this community, so we're really excited about all the people that are signing up. Right now, you have the ability to join as a guest, which will give you free access to our blogs, and you'll be able to get access to some of the courses that we are putting together in the community. So we're really excited about that. It's not going to be free forever. We obviously know that we need resources to be able to keep our community going. We're investing so much, and our app is almost ready. We are making a lot of progress, where we believe that next month we'll be able to make that announcement that the God Culture app is available on iOS and Android, and it would make just engaging even bigger and better. So thank you so much once again for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about unlocking keys to unlocking your purpose and your potential, and we're going to use the life of Daniel as a case study, because I think that his life is just really remarkable, and how he was a person of purpose. And so I want you to take notes. I've got tons of stuff I want to share with you. I have 7 points I want to share with you, and I'll expand on them very briefly. But I want you to check out this video, and then we'll get right into the material for today. All right. So one of the reasons why I thought that was really compelling and captivating is how you see this painter was painting this beautiful masterpiece, and is simply just going with the flow. There is no structure to it. When you think it's completed, when you think that the project is done, she comes back again, and then she starts up this new, just experimenting, just trying new things. But there's this sense of freedom and this sense of adventure to it. And I wanted to share that clip just to kind of give you that perspective when it comes to what I'm going to share today. That even though purpose in itself can be, directed on one thing, like your vision can be this big vision and this is where I'm going. Getting there and releasing your potential every single day can feel like, very unstructured. And that's what I want to kind of start with is encourage you as you think through purpose, as you think through fulfilling your potential, to realize that every single day is meant to be an adventure of self-discovery, of self-awareness, of growing, of having that freedom to be able to create this masterpiece without rules, if that makes sense. And that's the starting point when it comes to releasing your potential. It's that something can look, you could be pulled into a certain space in January, and then life happens, things happen, and you get pulled into another space. It doesn't mean that your purpose has changed, but how you respond to those external factors, how you position yourself, how you grow yourself is really critical in unleashing your potential in the world. So the first thing is, let's talk about what purpose. We talked about what purpose is extensively. If you've been following our community for a while, purpose has to do with what you were created to do, what you were created to accomplish. And you also notice that you have a unique set of gifts and talents that you were created with power. and that enables you to be able to fulfill that purpose. You have passions that drive you, that push you, things that you would do even if you weren't being paid to do those things. You also have what we call the pull, things that people come to you for that you are not remotely qualified to do, but people just feel like, man, you're good at this. They just keep coming to you. So people keep pulling that from you, regardless of the fact that you might not be trained in it, or you might be trained in it in some cases. But these things point to purpose. And I've often heard people say, okay, now I've figured out what I'm supposed to do. I've written out my purpose statement. I understand what my purpose philosophy is. I've done my dream day. I've put together my vision board. But how do I, on the day-to-day, when it feels like just life is happening, as I go through the different seasons, how do I release my potential? How do I unlock my potential? Well, potential has to do with capacity. It has to do with your ability to do. And for those of us who are of faith, people that are in the Christian circle, people who are faithfully serving in their churches, in our local communities, a lot of times we suffer from the idea that life has to be lived using a magic wand of just name it and claim it and things will happen. But I've come across in my time so many people who are of faith who don't apply principles of success, who don't have a good attitude. They pray a lot, but they don't have a good attitude. And they wonder why things don't work. They wonder why they're not releasing their full potential. I was talking to someone on our team recently, and I said, if we cannot get this right, then we shouldn't release this into the universe. And that's the same concept that I want to challenge you with today. As you're walking in purpose, as you're living in purpose, that whatever, as the Bible says, whatever your hands find to do it well. That's the first principle of unlocking your purpose and potential. That even as you're figuring out that masterpiece and that beautiful vision that you believe you have been given, that you always do your best. I know so many people who would rather pray than read. And that's one thing about our community, that we always want to make sure that we're speaking the truth, the practical truth, because it's about having that balance. And you should obviously pray without ceasing every single time, but you also need to learn how to do the practical things that are needful. I heard a story once about a lady who was looking for a job and had been offered a job. Like literally had been told by the person who referred her that she was going to get this job. She walks into the interview, which was just a formality at this time. It was just literally a formality. Let's just have this interview. And they say, well, why should we give you this job? And she starts to speak in tongues, like, man, and just say all this Christianese stuff about it's mine, God gave me this job and that's why I'm here and I claim it. And they literally were like, this person is crazy, right? And so, sometimes we get off the deep end when it comes to how we embrace religion and we forget that we need to be excellent. In fact, let me say this as I and this might rock your world a little bit. The original followers of Christ were called Christians. They did not call themselves Christians. So I always wonder when we use these labels on ourselves, like, oh, I'm a Christian, right? And that's why I don't do this. And that's turned off a lot of people. And that's not even a good testimony. That's not even the good news about Jesus that we share. Jesus never said, go ye into the world and tell them that you're Christians, right? This was a label that people gave to the disciples because they were acting like Christ. And I think a more powerful testimony is that you are excellent at your job, that you do everything with godly character, that you put your best foot forward every single time, that you're a good person, right? And that is the fruit. And I'm going to talk about that today when it comes to your potential, your purpose and your potential. That is the fruit of your purpose, is that you're producing good fruit. And then people say, wow, there's something different about you. I'm privileged to work with quite a number of partners through my company. And one thing that's been considered, I've noticed in my life, is that they always say, there's something different about this guy. One client one day on a Zoom call said, I had to go check you out on social media because I was like, this guy is acting like a Christian. And for me, that just totally made me happy because that tells me that I have a good testimony because I don't announce it. A lot of times we want to wear those t-shirts and we want to wear those hats into meetings. I'm going to let these people know, about my faith. But the truth of it is that your faith is really in your fruit. And I want you to take that as we get into the material for today. So I wanted to lay that foundation that we need to talk about practical things when it comes to releasing your potential. And we also need to have that balance of understanding how faith works and how we are supposed to live our lives as lights in a dark world. So number one, when it comes to releasing your potential, is I want to encourage you to go back and confront the pain and stop running away from things that make you uncomfortable. A lot of times we run away from things that make us uncomfortable. We don't want to get into those conversations. We want to get into those situations. We just want to stay away from things that are difficult. And that's really where purpose begins to find meaning, because purpose is never about you. It's always about someone else. It's always about a problem that you see in the world, that you sense in your heart, that you've been gifted uniquely to be able to solve. The people who you just always, like when you see disorganization, it just gets your attention. When you see poverty, it gets your attention. When you see injustice, it gets your attention. Like, I need to do something about this. I'm qualified to do something about this. I sense in my heart that I'm called to do this. And that points you to your purpose. But we cannot afford, as people of faith, to be lazy and to not do our due diligence in growing ourselves and going into spaces and places that are uncomfortable, that have caused us pain even in the past, and saying, I'm going to put a platform here and I'm going to bring about change in this situation. So we need to stop sitting on the sidelines. If it's political injustice, if whatever it is that has been on your heart, that you've been saying, I hate that, I want to put an end to that problem, it is time for you to go confront the pain. It is time for you. I want to encourage you that it is time for you to get uncomfortable, because when you're comfortable, you don't move. But when there's discomfort, you say, well, I'm going to fix this problem. So that's number one. Daniel in the Bible, he was taken as a slave, to Babylon, and he was picked for a few reasons. And if you really study the text, you see that the king of Babylon had said, listen, I want you to pick for me good-looking guys. I want people that are going to serve in my palace. I want them to be good-looking, and they need to be smart. They need to be super intelligent. So there was this whole criteria. And the guys who made those decisions at that time were afraid that if they ever made a mistake and brought the wrong person to the king, they would get killed. Like, these kings in those days were really, really crazy. So you can imagine the amount of work, scrutiny. This was like American Idols or something, or The Voice, where you're literally scrutinizing every single thing because you cannot afford to bring the wrong person or employ the wrong person or bring the wrong person into your team. In this case, they picked him and a few others, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and a few other people that were of noble blood. They were good looking, they were very smart, had wisdom and understanding. But one of the things that really blew my mind about this, as I was reading, if you read the book of Daniel chapter 9, it says here that Darius the Mede, who was the son of Xerxes, ruled over the kingdom of Babylonia. And in the first year of his reign, I was studying. So that was Daniel saying that I was studying the sacred books and thinking about the 70 years that Jerusalem would be in ruins, according to what the Lord had told the prophet Jeremiah. One, he had a passion because he was focused on a problem. And that was the only reason why he was studying. And I want you to think about that, because we don't read books anymore. We don't study. There's too much. I was reading a book a couple of days ago called Limitless. I was talking about how the brain suffers from digital distractions. Like, there's just so much information right now that you don't even know what you're supposed to be focused on. There's just too much distraction. But Daniel made up his mind that he was going to go study, because he was like, why are we in captivity? How do I know what the timing or the season of my purpose is in this place? I need to figure out what God has said about Jerusalem, about my people. And so he was studying the sacred books and thinking about the 70 years. I'm pretty sure he was probably, if he had a pen or something, was trying to figure out, where am I in the timing of this prophecy? Where am I in the timing of my purpose? Where am I in the timing of my season based on what God has told me I'm going to accomplish? And he was trying to figure that out. And in verse 3, it says that, and I prayed earnestly to the Lord, pleading with him, fasting, wearing sackcloth and sitting in ashes. I prayed to the Lord, my God, and confessed the sins of my people. Now, I haven't done a complete study of that. I don't know if this was past the 70 years, if it was close to, But this was someone who had a burden for change, who was looking to change their current situation. What you'll notice is that Daniel was excellent in every single thing that he did. He knew he knew who he was. He had a sense of identity, and he was prepared to be uncomfortable. When he got into the king's palace, right? They offered him all this food that had been offered to idols and stuff like that. Most of you who are faith-based or you grew up in church, you know this story. That Daniel says, not because he was trying to get on a keto diet or he was trying to be fit or whatever. This wasn't about going green or just eating vegetables or whatever, but he didn't want to eat the food that had been sacrificed to idols. So he chose to be uncomfortable. He chose to confront what would have made him lax, what would have made him just like everyone else. He refused to conform to the times and the standards of the times. He refused that. He chose a painful path. He wanted to be different. He wanted to honor God. He wanted to be focused on his mission. So number 2, I want you to write this down if you're taking notes, that find meaning in your mission. Find meaning in your mission. Daniel wasn't thinking about how he was going to escape, right? His current situation. What he was thinking about was the bigger picture, God's big purpose for the children of Israel. When are we going to be out of captivity? Because I understand that this is part of prophecy, and I understand that this is happening for a reason. So I want you to think about that. Find meaning in your mission. If your life is self-focused, you haven't found your purpose. If everything that you're doing right now is just toiling and you're just working hard because you're just trying to make some money and you're trying to survive, if it's all about you, then you are not living a life of purpose. And then live life with a sense of mission. And that's what he was doing. That's why he was studying. That's why he prayed 3 times a day. He was very consistent. He knew who he was. He knew what his purpose was. And he was working that out every single day. Write this down if you can. Number 3, get aggressive about execution. This is where many of us fail, like really, really fail. And sometimes the secular world is so good at that. And a lot of times it's based out of fear, which is not good, or they're driven by ambition and other things like that. But you need to get aggressive about execution. What does that mean? Because that sounds really violent. But what it really means is that be determined to always produce excellently every single time. And that's my commitment to myself and to the world and to my faith, is that whatever I do has to be done very well. I have a book that's supposed to have been out 2 years ago. It's not out yet. It's gone through maybe 3 to 4 different editors at this point. Why? I cannot put out a faulty product. I cannot put out something that wouldn't give God glory. I cannot put my name to something that is not done well. You need to be aggressive about executing your plan. You need to be deliberate. You need to be determined to produce excellent work every time. Write this down if you are. Part of the notes here is don't cut corners, be cutting edge. Don't cut corners, be cutting edge. Don't cheat your way. Don't you know how some people would say, hey, I'm just going to pray that the Holy Spirit will remind me of the answers when I get into the exam room. But then you don't even study. What's the Holy Spirit going to remind you of if you didn't study? So we need to stop using faith as a magic stick, and we need to start putting in the work. That's the difference. Jesus didn't sit down and say, hey, it's going to be great today. We're going to heal some people. It's going to be awesome. I'm just going to stay, and just stay in my inner room and just pray throughout the day. But God is going to do it. No, he prayed very early in the morning and then went to work. And so we need to understand that. We need to understand, and I'm speaking of people of faith today, and that's why I'm using a lot of biblical text. So this isn't just some general motivation. I'm really, really speaking to people of faith today. I've heard of people of faith who say, "Oh, I don't connect with all these other people because they're not Christians, and so I don't trust them. I'm not going to connect with them." So lunch break, you're eating on your own, you're secluding yourself, you're not engaging in conversations. I'm on Zoom meetings where these people are cursing. Listen, I need you to understand that if Jesus was here right now in our world, in this dispensation, you would be shocked. The kind of people he would be talking to and the kind of conversations he would be engaged in. He would not be afraid to sit down with people. He would not be afraid to have conversations with people. But a lot of times we take ourselves out of those conversations, and it's like, nobody's close to me. I think they just hate me because of my faith. You're not even relatable. You're not nice in the first place. You need to be a nice person. You need to be someone that's approachable in the first place. And so I want to just change those mindsets that, yes, you are in the world, you're not of the world, but don't take yourself out of the world just yet, because you're still here and you still have to engage with people, even if they're not of faith. And it is a privilege. You found this faith by grace, not of works. And so it is a privilege to actually be a person of faith. And that should make you stop judging other people, number one, and that should make you to stop looking down on other people who might not be of faith. Now, I want you to write this down also. I believe this is number 4, that purpose is revealed in your produce. If you want to be a person that's releasing potential, if you want to be a person of purpose, you need to be producing. And so that comes with your fruit. What are you producing? Are you able to look into 2019 or 2020 and say, this is what I produced. This is what I did. This is how I contributed in my company. This is how I built my business. This is what I did in church. This is how I served. This is the core impact that I made. If you're unable to do that, you haven't started, because you need to be able to measure these things. You need to be able to look back and say, I was able to write a book last year. I was able to finish 10 books. I was able to build this project with our global team. I was able to lead this team, and we were able to go from the first quarter to the second quarter, and we had 25% growth. You need to have results, period. If you're not producing solutions, then you are just a leech. And our universe, our world needs people that are producing. We can't just be takers. We got to be givers, right? And so I want to encourage you that where is your relevance? That's the question. Like, you need to find the place of your relevance. Where is your relevance? You need to find that place, and you need to stay in that place, because that is the place of your power. All right. Write this next point. Who's in your power circle? If you want to release your potential, if you want your purpose to have a voice, you need to know who's in your power circle. You need to be deliberate about the people that you let into your inner circle. Daniel, at some point, was told that they had to bow down to this. I don't know if you guys remember that story, but they had to bow down to this crazy god. I think it was also a time when they were saying that no one could pray except to the king. But the Bible talks about, so let me read this, Daniel chapter 17, Daniel chapter 9. This verse 17 says that, and Daniel returned to his house and explained the matter to his friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and he urged them to plead for mercy from God concerning this mystery. Yeah, this was about a dream. So the king had a dream, and he was ready to kill everyone because nobody was giving him the correct interpretation. So he called his inner circle and said, hey guys, I can't do this by myself. I need some support. So the question now is, who's in your circle? Do you have people that are tearing you down every day, systematically, emotionally, methodically, just tearing you down, telling you can't do that, no, that doesn't work, don't believe all that, oh, those people are trying to hurt you, that just sowing negative seed into your mind about your relationships, about your friendships, about people that God has sent into your life? Or are you putting people into your life that are infusing you with energy, that are telling you you can do it, go for it, let's pray together, let's grab lunch safely, of course, but are you putting people that are giving you positive energy? Because we have so much negativity today. You need people that you can trust. You need people that are in your corner. You need people that can, you can share a dream with, and they can help you immediately start making it work. Like, let's do it. Here's the next plan. Here's my skill set. Let's work together. You need the right people in your inner circle. Who's your power circle? You want to fulfill your potential. You want to release your ability. You want to be a person of purpose. You need the right people around you. And you have to be deliberate about it. You have to be deliberate about it. I know I have people for every single area. If I'm looking for legal advice, I know people people that I pay for that. If I'm looking for consulting, if I'm looking for this, if I'm looking for that, I have friends for different areas. And I'm also someone who's also sharing. People call me, hey, let's have a conversation. I want to start my business. Let's just talk. Absolutely free. I know I'm in their corner. They know that I'm someone, a resource that they can reach out to whenever they need me, because I know that I'm in their power circle. And I also have people in my power circle. So there's nothing selfish about having a power circle. It's really about having a community of people that you trust, who bring in different skills, and they can help you solve problems together. So please write that down. And then I believe this is my final point, is position yourself for the pool. Now, that sounds really cute because I like all this cute stuff, okay? Because I'm a writer, so I like all this cute stuff. But position for yourself for the pool means that even in the season when you're not experiencing your big, like your big breakthrough, continue to do what's needful. Continue to get knowledge. Continue to grow your skills. Continue to invest in yourself. Because the time will come when the pull is going to happen. What's the pull? The pull is you getting a phone call to say, hey, I heard about this, that you were able to help us with this. We've been looking for someone for a very long time. It's a big budget. Are you able to take this on? Position yourself for the pull. Every single business growth that I've had over the last year was because we were rightly positioned for the pull. There was a time within 2 months when we deployed Illinois Senate websites, about 6 to 9 of them within a span of 2 to 3 months, okay, during the heat of the race, right? And just different things. The only reason why we were able to do that is because we were rightly positioned. We've walked so many times, we've created a system that works so many times, we've done it so many times with smaller clients that when big clients come now, it's just easy and it's like, whoa, we got it done. We've done multiple projects like that. So when bigger clients come, it's easy to replicate the same system. Now, if you sit down and say, well, God told me that he's going to get me some big clients, and then this little small company comes around and then you treat them like crap, and you don't realize that that's you preparing for your pull. So never look down on teaching 5 people. Never look down on teaching 10 people. I was watching TD Jakes last Sunday, and he said, and he was just kind of celebrating that he remembers when he was preaching to 5 people, and when people were laughing at him and telling him, dude, you're wasting your time, and how he's global, right? Never look down on the days of little beginnings, because you might be thinking that your purpose, which is true, is huge and it's global, and you're going to speak in front of thousands of people, and you're going to be known, and you're going to be on CNN. And all that's not looking like it right now because you're probably still in the season of the pit. Or maybe you're still in the season or you're in Potiphar's house. My point to you is that you've got to, throughout that process, be positioning yourself for the pull, because the big call is going to come one day. And the only way you don't mess up is if you are preparing yourself today. So don't disqualify yourself today. Don't disqualify yourself because of what you're going through. Don't disqualify yourself because of what your situation and circumstances might be. Don't disqualify yourself. There is prayer. There's practical things you can do. There's people, right? There's so many things that when it comes to, we do not have time to break everything down when it comes to purpose and potential. But if you begin to follow these points, and if you study the life of Daniel, a guy who was ripped out of his family and ripped out of his homeland and taken as a slave, to serve a king, a crazy king who could kill him anytime. Like, this king was so crazy that everyone was afraid every single day, and have the courage to stay on track with his purpose and still have time to pray 3 times a day. And many of us don't do that every day, and still study. Like I read earlier, that he was studying the sacred books and thinking about the 70 years Jerusalem would be in ruins. So he understood the season that he was in, he understood where he was, and he was doing everything that he could to walk in his purpose and to fulfill his potential. If you go through Daniel, every single time that they were going to make a decision about who was going to lead, no matter how many leaders they picked, they always recognized him as the leader of leaders because he was different. Now you can write that off and say, well, there was this special anointing on his life that just made him different. He didn't have to do anything. It was all just God's glory. But you also have to realize that if you have no effort, God can't bless your 0% because it's still going to be 0%. You've got to put a seed in the ground. You've got to show up every day. You've got to produce excellent work. You have to be determined to execute. You have to be determined to look back and track what you've accomplished, what good work you've put into the world every single year. You can't afford to just go with the flow, right? You need to be a person of purpose, and you need to be a person who's releasing your full potential to bless the world. So that brings us to the end. It's a very short teaching. I hope I didn't make a few enemies. I actually hope I did make a few enemies. But I was wanting to share some core truth with you that would take you from where you've been to where you need to go. And that's really our goal here at God Culture. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take on a couple of questions. Otherwise, I want to encourage you once again to go to our website and visit godculture.global. And you can sign up as a guest for now on our platform. I've got a book coming up, which is called Your Purpose is Calling. Like I said, this has been a long process because I want this book to be perfect. I don't want to put anything out into the world that is not perfect, because I owe that to God. I owe that to you. I owe that to my world. Discover your unique purpose, develop your creative platform, leave a lasting legacy. We are at the very end of this process, and we're about to start the marketing and the distribution process, but we need your help. If you are interested, please go to our website or send us a message at info@godculture.org in getting an advanced copy. We're going to be printing a limited set of books to get endorsements and reviews and initial reviews that we're also going to publish in the book when we do the mass market release. So I want to encourage you, if you want to be part of this, you want to have your name as part of this legacy, please send us an email and say, hey, I'm interested, and I'll be able to support in getting you access to the initial copy, and you'll be able to read that and then give us feedback that we will publish in the book. So are there any questions? Oh, awesome. No questions. I like that. Enemies? No, I've made more friends today. That's good. That's good. I like us to be practical people of faith. And we need to continue to grow. So that's awesome. Well, thank you all. We have more speakers coming next month. We've got Tony Escobar, the personal CFO. We've got Brandon Greco, the co-founder of the Rise Agency and the vice president of the Weller Financial. We're excited about these amazing speakers. We're looking forward to a wonderful time. And if you want to support us in any other way, you can also go on Amazon and grab a copy of previous books that I've written. Valley of Dead Dreams, still relevant today. Father of Spirits, and then Dealing with the Disconnect, which is an ebook, I believe will bless you. So thank you guys. Let me pull back the team, and everyone is just going to say thank you for joining us today at God Culture Virtual. We're excited. Papi, Aaron, you guys want to say bye-bye to everyone?
Yeah, I'm going to go. That was great stuff, Rotimi. Thank you. I was taking notes, but I'm also going to rewatch this. Yeah, no questions, but I've been listening to you for 3-4 years now. So
that's why you have some gray hair. That's Rotimi's voice.
That too. It's fantastic. Thank you, Rotimi. Great stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rotimi. Really good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Yeah. It was a really good event. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.